Alright guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Mike. As you can see, today I'm in the forest together with my four-wheeler. As you can tell from the title of the video, today's vlog is gonna be about my experience and everything that I know I learned about the Kawasaki brute force, the good, the bad stuff, and also the beginning guide, what you need to be checking definitely before buying a used four-wheeler. Now, I own this machine. Actually, I own two in the past 1 year, so I've been pretty much doing a lot of stuff on them, repair some of the stuff that the previous owner didn't do. So there is a lot to be talked about. So let's dive in, and I hope you enjoy the video. Right, so before we start, I just want to mention that there is two different variations of purposes that you can use those machines for. Like one, it's utility purposes. You can connect a trailer, or you can put a snowplow on the front, doing stuff in your land and whatever you want to do, just connect it with utility. The second type is having fun in the mountains, deep mudding, riding for fun. And in both cases, machines are getting very heavy abused. Most of the times when you go deep mudding or when you go ride in the mountains, you're having a heavy abuse on the bearings, on the bushings, on the suspension, wheels, steering, everything. There is a lot of people out there in the social medias that are putting for sale machines that are heavy abused, but just cleaned up and paint very nice, just the cosmetic stuff. But engine-wise, suspension, gears and all that, clutch, everything is heavy abused, and there's no chance that you can see that by the time you're buying the machine. So you need to be very careful. So let's dive into the mechanic parts of the machines. All right, let me tell you a little bit more about my machine. We got a Kawasaki Brute Force 750. I think is 06 with a little bit of customizations. Now I have extra vents so I can go deep mudding if I want to. This was added from the previous owner. I don't have the rail in the front, but I have a super cool LED lights that I have a separate video on customizing my headlights. Link will be added in the upper right corner of the video if you want to check that. Another thing, we got a winch, and the winch is actually double the weight of the ATV, so I think it's about 800 kilos up to 1,000 kilos. When I bought it, I wanted double the weight of the quart. Right, so we got aftermarket rims. Those are added from the previous owner, and as you can see, they're a little bit wider. And because of that, the ATV is getting a lot of dirt right here on the sides. I wanted to add some type of a storage box on the back, and I found this one very cheap. I just didn't want it that big bulky bags that everyone's running on their ATVs. It's not my type. Basically, those type of small storage cases are meant to be at the front of the ATV, but I just put it on the back. It looks cool and it works perfect for me. Another thing I add is a LED bar for reverse, because I have a trailer as well. Sometimes I ride in the night, sometimes, you know, it's good to have it. All right guys, so let's check. The first thing I want to mention is that most of the times people are riding only with the rear wheel spinning. So most of the times the ATVs are getting abused more on the back. Now there is a bushings right here on the suspension that you need to be checking for anything overused and loose. And this you can check by grabbing the wheel and pushing it out and in. That way you can see if there's anything loose at this particular bolts right here and there down. Here down there is a bearing that all the time is getting overused. There's no way you can see that. The only way to check is to lift the ATV and just spin the wheel and try to hear if there is a noise in there. The coils and springs are pretty much standard. They're heavy duty, and there is no much to be worried about that. What you need to be checking as well is the differential oil. Here's the bolt. You can unscrew it and check. Most of the times there is a magnet on that bolt, and you can see if there is any small pieces of metal. That means that it hasn't been maintained proper. And the other thing that is getting very much abused on the rear suspension is this sway bar right here. Now, I had an issue with my sway bar. I was searching for bushings. They were way too expensive if you wanted to buy from original website of Kawasaki or original OM part. So what I did, I found in a local store pretty much similar bushing that needed to be just a little bit worked, and it fits perfect. That cost me like 10 bucks. So not all the time original parts are the cheapest way to go. Another thing, this path right here where you're putting your foot are getting pretty much very often broken. The reason for that is because underneath there is only one piece of steel that it's like a tube that it's going in the middle. So what I've done, I put some pieces of steel, connect them, so get them tied with bolts so they can be protecting the underneath. I had broken both of the sides, so front suspension is getting abused as well, and you need to be also checking the bearings of the wheels and the bushings. Here I have something loose, and that's the joint right here. It's already used and I need to be replacing it very soon. I have a rule when I'm buying a new machine. It doesn't matter if it's a motorcycle, ATV or car. I'm changing all the liquids, which means you change the front, the rear differential, engine oil, plus radiator liquid, filter, as well as sparks. Like, you need to make sure that everything is perfect on your machine. So if you're buying it, no matter what is saying the previous owner, do not believe. Both of the ATVs that I bought, the owners were super cool. They were very friendly. They explained to me everything. I wasn't that much aware of brute force, and in general with ATVs, this is my first ATVs. So I trusted them with everything that they said. I bought them, and then in a week, I went into garage and I put everything in pieces and start rebuilding everything that they haven't done for ages. So be aware of that you need to change all the liquid. Everything that you're suspicious for, go and change it. Let's talk about carburetor. Carburetor needs to be cleaned up. It's located exactly underneath the air box, the air filter box. Most of the times you can put a little bit stronger petrol. It will clean up everything from the carb and from exhaust, but I suggest clean up the carburetor. Now my other brute force is with a carburetor from 650, and it's I have to say it's a little bit more aggressive because the carburetor is smaller. It speeds up a little bit more, but the 750 has a very balanced throttle. Like, the throttle is very balanced. We got 2 and 4 wheel drive right here. As you switch 4-wheel drive, you need to make a few meters so the electric switch can actually engage the 4-wheel drive. You got an overdrive right here when you go reverse. This is a small details, but what I want to say in general is that if you're pulling something heavy, you need to be on a low range. It doesn't matter if you're on a 4x4 or just rear wheel drive, you need to be on a low range. Then the engine has more power, like instant power. I see many people online, they advise the Dynatech CDI for carburetor. Probably is the best way to go. I ordered mine, probably will come after New Year, but it's a great upgrade if you want a little bit more torque. And you know, also the Dynatech CDI, it's bypassing the reverse backfiring. So once again, if you're buying used ATV, check it generally everywhere. Do not trust what they tell you. If you have to open the belt box right here, check the belt. Those are stuff that are getting abused, and it doesn't matter how clean the machine is at the time you're going to buy it. Have it in mind, and most probably it's been in a big heavy abuse in dirt, mud, and all that. As you can see, mine is in a very good condition, but still at the time when I bought it, it wasn't. So guys, that's about it. I hope you get some good information and you find what you were looking for. Anything you want to ask, you can comment down below in the comment section. I will reply as soon as I see it. So take care, subscribe if you haven't, if you like the content, and I'll see you soon.